Blackfyre is an important part of Targaryen history for several reasons, but one of the most important aspects of it is its reputation as the Sword of Kings, passed from Targaryen king to Targaryen king till the reign of King Aegon IV, where he gifted this Sword of Kings to his bastard son, Daemon Waters. Daemon having possession of Blackfyre, and the tradition of it being wielded by the king, made up part of Daemon's claim to the throne, in that Aegon had chosen Daemon as his heir by giving him the Targaryen ancestral sword. The power Blackfyre has can be seen during the Dance of the Dragons, with many supporters of King Aegon II and the Greens seeing Aegon wielding Blackfyre as part of his legitimacy as Viserys' rightful heir. He bore the Conqueror's name, the Conqueror's crown. He was the eldest son of Viserys and wielded the Sword of Kings. Whether you agree with Aegon's claim against Rhaenyra, possessing the markers that make the rightful king surely helped bring some undecided lords to the banner of the Greens. But Blackfyre was lost when Aegor Rivers fled to Essos and formed the Golden Company in the wake of the first Blackfyre Rebellion. While Aegon the Conqueror is the first known wielder of Blackfyre, it is safe to assume that given it's the ancestral sword of House Targaryen, we could possibly surmise that Aenar the Exile could potentially have brought it with him to Dragonstone from Valyria before the Doom, and the Lords of House Targaryen could have wielded it ever since. In the aftermath of Aegon's conquest, King Aegon I Targaryen used Blackfyre to kill Corin Volmark during the invasions of the Iron Islands. Later, during the First Dornish War, Aegon killed the champion of House Tolland with Blackfyre, not knowing it was actually the Fool of Ghost Hill. Even though Aegon the Conqueror was a great warrior with Blackfyre and could best most men, it was known that his elder sister wife, Queen Visenya Targaryen, feared the blade as well as Aegon's skill with it was not enough to protect the new king from danger. Thus, Aegon was convinced to allow the formation of the Kingsguard in 10 AC. Aegon would attempt to ready his eldest son, Prince Aenys, to wield Blackfyre, allowing him to handle and train with the blade occasionally, but it became clear quickly that the prince was no more than an adequate swordsman at best. When Aegon bestowed knighthood on his youngest son, Maegor Targaryen, during the Torniad River Run in 28 AC, he dubbed the prince with Blackfyre. After Aegon the Conqueror died at Dragonstone in 37 AC, the king's body was burned in a funeral pyre with his hands folded over the hilt of Blackfyre. Prince Maegor then retrieved Blackfyre from the ashes, with the blade having been made darker in colour by the flames, but was otherwise unharmed and unchanged. There is some suggestion this indicates Aegon was the first wielder of the sword, given this seems to be the first time the blade was burned with its owner. Aegon the Conqueror was succeeded by King Aenys I Targaryen, but the new king granted Blackfyre to his more martial younger brother, Prince Maegor Targaryen, something that would raise questions after Aenys' death. Maegor from then on only wielded Blackfyre and kept his previous Valyrian Steel sword, his mother's blade dark sister, at Dragonstone. When Maegor refused to put aside his second wife, Alice Harroway, the prince chose exile in Pentos and refused Aenys' request to leave Blackfyre behind. Maegor subsequently flew to Dragonstone to claim the crown after Aenys died in 42 AC. When Grand Maester Garwin insisted the Iron Throne should pass to Aenys' eldest son, Prince Aegon the Uncrowned, Maegor beheaded Garwin with the blade. There were some who took Maegor's possession of Blackfyre as a symbol of his claim to the throne over his nephew. Maegor then wielded Blackfyre during his trial of 7 against the warrior's sons, with the new king slaying Sir Daemon Morrigan and Sir William the Wanderer. Maegor later used Blackfyre to kill Myros when the Grand Maester spoke out against Maegor marrying Tyanna of Pentos. In Old Town, 7 prominent warriors' sons who refused to join the Night's Watch were beheaded by Maegor with Blackfyre. After Tyanna's confession to poisoning the unborn children of Maegor's other queens, the king used Blackfyre to cut out her heart and feed it to his dogs. After many years of Maegor's harsh rule, the lords of the realm had had enough of this cruel king. They began to unite against Maegor when Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, the niece and wife of Maegor, stole the sword from the sleeping king at the Red Keep for Aenys' surviving son and rightful heir, Prince Jaehaerys Targaryen, who had announced his own claim at Storm's End. Maegor was eventually found dead on the Iron Throne. When the boy king Jaehaerys I Targaryen took the Iron Throne in 48 AC, he did so with the Sword of Kings in hand, and would often bore Blackfyre on his sword belt in public. While not a fighter remembered in legend and song, he was far more accomplished and a skilled warrior with the blade than his father Aenys ever was. Jaehaerys used the sword to personally slay the rebel Borys Baratheon during the Third Dornish War, and Jaehaerys also killed the much younger man Sir Braxton Beesbury in a trial by combat after Beesbury had seduced the king's daughter, Princess Sarah. While Fire and Blood, nor any book source, names Jaehaerys' successor Viserys I as a wielder of Blackfyre, and it was just not mentioned in the history books. Namely, as the idea of the sword passing from king to king is part of Aegon II's claim during the Dance of the Dragons, as well as Sir Eustace Osgreath's statement in The Sworn Sword, stating that every Targaryen king had wielded the blade. Thus, this should include Viserys I. During the Dance of the Dragons, Blackfyre was wielded by King Aegon II Targaryen. His possession of Blackfyre enhanced his legitimacy against his rival and half-sister Rhaenyra Targaryen. The symbolism of Aegon II wielding Blackfyre was an important aspect of Aegon's claim of being the rightful heir of Viserys. When Aegon returned to King's Landing near the end of the Targaryen Civil War, he allowed the condemned Tristan Truefyre to be granted knighthood before his death. Sir Marsden Waters dubbed the youth Sir Tristan Fire, and Sir Alfred Broom then beheaded the newly made knight with Blackfyre, as Aegon was still too injured to wield the blade himself. In a similar situation as Viserys, while it is never specifically stated that Aegon II's successor, Aegon III, ever wielded Blackfyre, given the statement that every Targaryen king has done so in the Sworn Sword, it is possible that Aegon III did. But what we do know for sure is that Aegon III's eldest son, Daeron I, the young dragon, used Blackfyre during his wars with Dorne and likely died with it. But we don't have any proof that Daeron's successor Viserys II and Baelor the Blessed ever wielded the blade. There might be an in-law reason they never did, at least that it was never mentioned that they did. After Daeron I was killed in Dorne, we don't know how or even when Blackfyre was returned to House Targaryen by the Dornish. It is very possible it was not till the reign of Baelor it was returned to House Targaryen, and given Baelor's reputation as a Septon king, and not really a violent man or a fighter, him choosing not to wield the blade does make some sense. But we know that the blade was at least returned to House Targaryen by the reign of Aegon IV, as he was in possession of Blackfyre by 182 AC, when the king chose to bestow Blackfyre on his bastard son, Daemon Waters, a born warrior, instead of his scholarly, legitimate son, the future King Daeron II Targaryen. Sir Daemon, who had been known by the bastard name Waters until then, took the name Blackfyre thereafter, creating House Blackfyre. Some felt that the Conqueror's sword symbolised the monarchy, so the gift was one of the seeds from which the Blackfyre Rebellion grew. Daemon Blackfyre wielded the sword during the first Blackfyre Rebellion in 196 AC, and he fought an epic duel with Sir Gawain Corbray of the Kingsguard at the Red Grass Field, pitted against Gawain's own Valyrian blade, Lady Forlorn. Aemon Blackfyre briefly wielded the sword after the Raven's Teeth slew Daemon, but Aemon was also killed in the battle. Daemon's half-brother, Aegor Rivers, known as Bitterstill, attempted to rally the rebels with Blackfyre in hand, but Bitterstill withdrew after dueling another half-brother, Brendan Rivers, Bloodraven, his long-term rival. With Daemon and his twin sons dead at the Red Grass Field, Bitterstill took Blackfyre with him into exile in the Free Cities, where he would eventually found the Sellsword Company, the Golden Company. Aegor refused to give the Valyrian sword to Daemon II Blackfyre for the ill-fated Second Blackfyre Rebellion, and thus Lord Ambrose Butterwell doubted Daemon's potential after learning he lacked the blade. Possession of Blackfyre after Bitterstill is unknown, although maesters consider Blackfyre pretenders to have ended with the death of Maelys Blackfyre. While history loses track of the Valyrian blade after Aegor Rivers dies, it may not be the last we see of it. There are several fan theories that the sword may still be in the possession of the Golden Company, or perhaps Ilario Merpatis, and the blade may soon be given to the possession of Jon Connington and the apparent Aegon Targaryen, as he and the Golden Company look to take the Iron Throne in the Winds of Winter. Whether or not this Aegon is a true Targaryen or a secret Blackfyre, having possession of the Sword of Kings will doubtless prove to many his legitimacy and claim to the Iron Throne.